Welcome to the Jim Fleming Show on the Rhody Sports Network. From Learfield, tonight's show is brought to you by Pizza Gourmet. Rhode Island's wood grilled pizza crust is a proud sponsor of URI football. Dunkin' Donuts, sip the Rhody way. By Rhode Island Medical Imaging, the official medical imaging company of URI Athletics. Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. And by Dave's Fresh Marketplace, better food, better service. Here's your host, Steve MacDonald.
All right, welcome once again to the Mews Tavern, our favorite spot. Absolutely. George McAuliffe is here. They're getting ready. Tomorrow night, the big night here. The Halloween party at the Mews Tavern is second to none. This is an absolute place to be.
Is that why we're doing this tonight?
I shut my lights off at 8. I'm going to be in bed by 8:15. But if you stayed out, you got a costume. I'm going to be ready to go. But, George, this is a big one, right? Big party. Big party tomorrow night. What time does it get going? About 10 o'clock or so? Get cranked up. 9 o'clock here at the Mews. If you want a place to hang out and celebrate Halloween, this would be an awesome place to do. Right now we're celebrating.
No football players.
No football. That's right, George. Have somebody at the door sending the football players home, will you?
No, none.
Anybody dressed as football players?
We have something else to do.
Cover all our ground here.
Yes.
Tomorrow we celebrate Halloween. Today we celebrate URI football. 7-1 and 4-0 in the CAA. Rhode Island off to a terrific start. We're 2/3 of the way through the season. 4 to go down the stretch run. The next one is at home. It is sold out against Monmouth, and we want to get into that. First, we have some sad news in the URI community. We lost a great friend, Dr. Fitzgerald, a longtime orthopedic surgeon for the University of Rhode Island for decades. And even though we had retired a while back, still a very, very part of the URI family, Coach.
Yeah, big-time guy that was always there. You'd see him, and he had just a great spirit to him. I didn't get to work with him.
Right.
You know, you have a deeper relationship and a longer-standing relationship. But, he was one of those guys. I know the loss impacted Andy Yaguno, our head trainer, in a big-time way. And the entire community, which is so strong, sends out their prayers and love to his family because he was a dude, from what I understand. And there's a lot of guys that were treated by him, and I'm sure they have a great affinity for him. So he'll be missed.
You mentioned Andy and Kim Bissonette as
Yep.
well, who's
Kim
since retired as well, but very, very close to Doc Fitz. And he's kind of like that. He reminds me of the Doc from Field of Dreams, Moonlight Graham, right?
Yes.
It's just that community Doc,
Yes, he had that.
I coached for a number of years, high school and stuff, and I sent guys over to him that had knee problems and stuff, and he would always, because you knew he was the man. He was going to get it done for you, Just a sweet guy and, a great Doc, but also just a fantastic person and somebody that is really ingrained in this URI community. We'll love him forever. So,
no doubt. The only thing I'm regretful of is I never got him any good gear. He always had something from like 2014, 2015. I never got him good gear, so I'm sorry, Doc.
You'd have that old Ram with the winding horns.
The anteater.
It's like, Doc, we got to take care of you, man. We got to take care of you. But thanks, Doc, for all that you've done. We appreciate you. Peace, my friend. I want to thank our friends at Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Family-owned and operated since 1959. Newport Propane treats you like part of the family. Visit them at newportpropane.com. I want to thank Peter and Jocelyn Sherman for all they do for the University of Rhode Island. Sold out. I saw that up on the scoreboard for quite a bit on Saturday. Monmouth game, sold out. That was really nice to see, Coach. Those are good words up there for Rhody football.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
You really, when you look at it. And
four out of the 5 games have been sold out this year at home.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? I mean, come see it. It's a good show. It's a good day. As I've said before, I think Mews Stadium is the best place to witness a game in the CAA. Been all around the CAA many, many times, and I have really no interest in going anywhere other than staying right here in Mead. But, when you look up on the video board, which, again, is an addition and an improvement to our facility. You look out and you see those big red letters saying sold out. It's pretty cool, but, what's most important is that we come out and show out as a football team and play extremely well and have an opportunity to notch number 8 versus Monmouth.
Absolutely. Best start since 2001. 7-0 in FCS competition for Rhode Island, number 4 in the country back in 2001 at 7-0 to start. But 2024, a win on Saturday, be a 5-0 start in the CAA, and that has never been done for URI football to get that far up before any defeats in conference play. And this is a tough conference to get that done in.
Yeah, it's a tough conference, and there's a lot of things that we've been able to do over the last 11 years that haven't happened in a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And it always comes down to the preparation and the focus of the players getting ready to play a very good football game. And, it's exciting. I really can't wait to see what happens this weekend. I want to continue to roll. I know that back in 2001, it was Tim Stowers who led them to an 8-0 start. Mm-hmm. Had 3 losses right after that, and then finished the final game. And I think they got left out of the playoffs at that point in time too. So, I mean, those things are the things that haunt me in my negative mind. But now that I've determined that my blood type is B positive, we're all good.
That 7-game win streak back in 2001. Is the longest for URI since the 84-85 seasons, which were the very best in URI football history. You're now at 6, so this one on Saturday has added meaning in that regard.
Well, I mean, the streaks mean nothing. It's, again, the pleasure that I've had coaching this group is that they have really locked in on the most important thing that we have to do in this game, and that's the preparation and the day-to-day, and make sure that we're able to be at a fever pitch at 1 o'clock on Saturday and ready to go out and execute. And as I've said a zillion and a half times, we still haven't played our most complete game, and I really do believe that this game is going to require it. I think that, they come in with a high-powered offense. We've got, a very good defense that's played their tails off all year long. Our offenses continue to come along, and our special teams have an opportunity to make a big impact. So I really believe that, this game will be a need for us to play in all 3 phases very, very well to be able to take home a win. And to be home at Mead in front of all those people, and particularly those crazy people that are all painted up right in the front row, which is outstanding to see. We're going to play very hard for them and absolutely come home as best we can with a victory.
You always do, that is for sure. A word about Monmouth, and we'll get on to some of the URI stuff, look back at the main game and look ahead to what is left on the schedule, but Monmouth being the main one. Just if you take records aside, they're 4-4 and they're 2-2 in the league. Take records aside, just watching on Flow Sports, you can go back during the week and watch games and everything. Just watching teams, to me, Monmouth is on my top 2 or 3 list of teams that really kind of scare me a little bit watching them. They can put points on the board in a hurry. They can do a lot of good things on that field. They're a tough out.
Sometimes I think you do more preparation than I do. But
hey, my social life is obviously zooming right along.
Yeah, absolutely right. Watching repeats of Flow Sports, I'm with you. I guess it's better than Seinfeld, but no doubt. I mean, I think that I was talking to one of the staff members today about, most of the conference is 4-4. We've been 4-4. Mm-hmm. You're always sitting there looking at 4-4 saying, okay, let's get on a roll here and we can get ourselves into the playoffs. All dreams are still available at that point in time. So I know what we got coming down the road. I mean, this is a very high-powered offense, as I've already indicated. They've got incredible talent, and I think they're very well coached. Kevin Callahan is somewhat of a relative of mine, which you can really nuts. But it's
how so?
Well, I mean, I've got a bunch of cousins down in Jersey. Mm-hmm. All right, and Kevin married a sister of a cousin or whatever it may be. But there is a lock in here, so apparently there's a lot of family feud in here, and particularly my cousin Michael Sheehan. Way back when I was at Sacred Heart, we played Monmouth. Kevin was there at that time.
Okay, all right,
he was there in 2000.
Yeah,
and. I wrote on the hat that I left him. I said, "Blood is thicker than water," so he got to be rooting for us.
Hey, blame me for asking him to explain the relationship.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a garbled answer of blah, blah, blah.
That was an exit that we'll never get back on the highway with. They've got a guy in Derek Robertson, their quarterback, who's a tough out as well.
Yeah, and he played at Maine. He was a Pain up there, and he's going to be a Pain here.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about that Maine game, Coach. It was an exciting one at Mews Stadium this past week, and Rhode Island came away with a 24-14 win to guarantee a fifth straight winning season for Rhode Island with 4 games to play, which is an early time to get on the plus side of 500 for sure the rest of the way. Got to start off talking about your goal line offense, Coach. Saw a little Wildcat in there. Saw Malik Grant out there, and also saw Tommy Smith involved. Talk about the new look there and whether we're going to see more of it and whether it might expand to other parts of the field.
Well, the game, as you get into a season, you continue to go ahead and identify what are the talents that you have and how can you utilize them best. And I think that Murph and the offensive staff do an outstanding job at doing that. When you look at Wildcat is a pain in the tail to defend. Mm-hmm. I've done it a million times, a million different ways, and always seems to find a way to get into the end zone. So now you got, Tommy Smith, a 225-pound multiple athlete, played quarterback in high school, has been, a significant contributor to us during the course of the year. And the first week we go ahead and run him in there, and then we go ahead and shift him on out. So I think it's a very creative way to go. It's important. Yes, we're going to build on it, and we're hoping that it will continue to be successful because when you get down there, that is one of the areas that we're very, very strong in red zone offense. And I'm very, very happy about that because when you're down there, you want touchdowns. And if you can't get a touchdown, at least you want 3.
Absolutely. One of the best in the league in proficiency at that department. You mentioned Tommy Smith. I was thinking, like the Bruins have a 7th player award. Baseball will have a 10th player award. If you had a 12th player award, I think Tommy Smith would be a great candidate. I
think Tommy Smith is one of the most valuable players we have on the football field. Yeah. When you watch him, the things we've asked him to do, how he shows up in the pass game. He'll sit there and play as a wideout. He'll play as a tight end. He'll go down, and he's a significant contributor on our kickoff coverage team. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's been a guy that has been anything we've asked him to do, he has done in the right way, and that is another story of a guy that walked in here, no money, earned scholarship, and has been produced in a big-time way, which I've mentioned a million times about these guys. I'm so proud of what they're able to accomplish because they come in with a goal and they grow and they get better and better, and Tommy is very, very representative of all those guys.
Without question. Another guy that really performed well for you and has, as of late, really all season long, is Emmanuel Gomes, local guy out of Woonsocket High School, 10 tackles for you in this main game. On Monday in your press conference, you referred to him as the human missile.
He's a missile. I mean, he's been the piece about tackling is being under control of the point of contact. But the other piece of it is be able to close the ground between point A and point B. And you sit there and watch E, and he'll go, and he sees, he identifies, and he goes down 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I don't know how much control there is, but he is accurate. He's been knocking the heck out of people, and I'm so proud of how he's developed and what he's been able to contribute to this defense. He's a tremendous contributor and a great teammate.
You had 6 sacks in that game, no sacks allowed as well, which I think makes Sibby over there a very happy guy as one of the coaches on the offensive line. But so both numbers are huge, but that sack number, Coach, you mentioned on Monday how late in the game when you get up by 2 scores, things start to happen.
Well, I think I never went back and saw where the sacks happened, but my guess is they all happened after we went up.
Yeah.
The field goal makes it a 10-point game, makes it 2 scores, and these guys have incredible ability. I mean, you're looking at guys that we roll in there all have the ability to be able to pressure the passer. And you look at Primrose coming up with a couple, and I was really happy about Kareem. He got his first sack, and I believe, and AJ's always there. But when they get going and they get spinning and moving all around, credit to the defensive staff to be able to put them in a proper structure. But they're able to go ahead and do some pretty special things. But we got to be in that position 2 scores up.
Sure, and because that limits the possibilities of the offense, right? They're going to pass the ball. So as you said on Monday, they pin their ears back and just go, right?
They go. I mean, and that's the key. I mean, I think that when you looked at the beginning of that game, we were struggling to get off the field on 3rd down. But, when it got to a position where it was manageable, where 2 scores up, they knew what was going to happen, they were able to get after it, and they've done it all year long. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that continue to develop. And there's a bunch of other guys that are still chomping at the bit to be able to get after the quarterback as well.
Absolutely. That front seven has performed very, very well for you. I think you hit the nail on the head, though, when you said, hey, A.J. got one of them, and it's always good to see A.J. because he's competing for Defensive Player of the Year in this league or a bunch of other stuff, CAA, first team, the whole deal. He's probably got that locked up. But, so his numbers are important to that overall resume. But to see Carson get a couple, to see Braden Price get another one, Devin Hightower had one, Kareem, you said, had his friend, and Gabe Solomon's had a TFL. That was a really important one as well. And Gabe's been involved in those numbers all year long as well. But to see the different names, perform in the same game, that speaks to the depth of that department for you.
Yeah, it does. But it also speaks to their preparation, how they go about their day-to-day. I cannot tell you what a spirit that A.J. Pena brings to the practice field. I have a buddy of mine, Chuck Pagano, who went on to coach at the Colts, and he was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens when Ray Lewis was in the middle of that thing, and he said when you go out to practice, you had no worry about getting them going or getting them excited to play, because if you weren't doing it at a very high level, Ray was going to let you know that.
Okay.
And this guy's the same way, and he comes on out. I mean, today we start off practice every day with a tempo period, 3 plays for the first day and then three plays for the second team, and it goes fast and hard. And AJ came out of his shoes today.
No kidding.
And it just sets the tempo for the entire practice, and he's an incredible player and an incredible leader.
Tell us about practice today. How'd it go?
I thought it went well. I think, I had come into the week, and I'd told the kids that, Monday that we're going to do our normal deal through Tuesday, and then I'm probably going to pull the pads off on Wednesday. About halfway through Tuesday's practice, Wes Neal comes up to me and says, Coach, we need to get a couple more reps.
Really?
AJ, we need a couple more reps. So I went and grabbed the guys. I grabbed Gabe Sloat. I grabbed Wes, AJ, a couple of the other guys. I said, what do you think? He said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Put the pads on and let's go after it again.
Nice.
So we did do 2 scout periods as opposed to what we call a service period, which is, the offense, the offensive starters give the defensive guys a look, and the defensive starters give the offensive guys a look. But they went after it good. I thought we executed well. We got into the goal line areas, blah, 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 go on all night long. But it was a good practice, and I'm really, excited to see us take this step forward.
Now, is that commonplace for you over your coaching career to have guys that can come up to you and say, hey, Coach, I know this is the plan, but this is what we'd like to do. Maybe we can, and you saying, hey, I'll appreciate their input. Let's change things a little bit to get that done. Is that a commonplace thing, or is that a little special to this team?
Well, I think it's fairly commonplace. I mean, from my perspective, as I told the staff today, I said the best thing about sitting in my seat, I can be the stupidest guy in the room and be able to go ahead and listen to smart people, and I can make a final decision. And I could obviously sit there and talk to the players. But these kids we're very interactive as a program. I trust their opinions, and so when I thought about in midway through practice about taking, let's put the pads back on, I went up to those guys and asked them. They said, yeah, let's go.
Okay.
And then when I announced it at the end of practice, you saw everybody say yes, because no one wants to change the doggone thing, not even their underpants right now.
You talk about that relationship with the players and the spokesman on this team. Devin Farrell is going to be on with us in a while. He's a redshirt sophomore. Here's a relatively young guy in the system. Got a lot of football to play at the University of Rhode Island. What's your input and output with him as far as that goes?
My input with him, Murph coaches him, and it's in my view is from a little bit of not a distance, but I monitor things. I've seen very special play out of that kid. I see him as a tremendous competitor. I see him as a guy that gets better when it gets clutch situations. I see his preparation very good each and every week. Now, he's also a perfectionist, which, if you're a perfectionist right now, that can be a little bit of a detriment.
Sure.
Because, you sit there and expect so much out of yourself, and if you don't make a good throw, it's like, what? And I continue to tell him, I said, put it behind. But, I mean, I think he is exact what you said. He's a young player that, ultimately when he got his first start had not started a football game since he was a freshman in college. Mm-hmm. I don't care about Virginia Tech, all the things he's gone through to get here. Had to sit behind Kasim all last year, prepare himself for the opportunity, earn the opportunity, has made the most of it. So I think just like our team, his best days are ahead of him. He knows when he makes a mistake now. And I'm starting to watch a dynamic that's kind of cool to watch, because it's been growth. Now Murph's starting to coach him a little harder and starting to go ahead and get him to push it, a little bit more and grow into the role, which is critical. I mean, everybody knows that the quarterback gets, all the accolades and then all the detriments and all the negatives, but he handles it well, and he's a good leader for our football team.
Yeah, your quarterback, I think, always has to be amongst your leadership guys, but being a redshirt sophomore, is a younger player as far as years of service, and he's sitting over there next to Sebastian Delasoudas, who's a 4-time captain at the University of Rhode Island, was captain in his second year at URI and every year after that, which proves that you don't have to be an upperclassman, a junior or senior, to be the guy that shows that leadership.
No, you don't. Absolutely not. And, I think that, from the difference between Sebi and Dev is, it's the position they play. Sebi can do it with heart and physicality and preparedness for practice every day and can rally the troops. Now, for a quarterback, you want to be performing. You want to be performing and you want to be doing it in the right way. And I think that comes along. But I have seen similar growth in Dev's ability to play and ability to lead our team throughout the season, and there's still a bunch of upside there.
And the other difference between Dev and Sebi is Sebi's a little faster, right? I think we can all agree with that, right?
Hey, let me tell you something. To have that boy still on the sideline and come up to me every day, it was a great moment last week. I'm sitting there at the end of the game, and, I stand way away from everybody because I'm always sitting there locked up, like you always mentioned, about Tammy coaching, and then us coaching.
Absolutely.
And he comes up, he's standing there, and I'm still waiting for the final tick, because I want to get the game over. And he's standing there. I know what he wants to do, and so I turned over and I gave him a fist bump. And it was a good moment. It was a good moment.
As long as you do it better than the Patriots with the head coach and the offensive coordinator, Steve Van Pelton, after the first touchdown. Oh, my God. That was a bad celebration. It didn't go well. Back to rehearsal for that one.
I'll have to go into the archives for that one.
Coach, on Monday you also mentioned, and you've mentioned it before, and I know this is important to you, and I want you to explain why. You said you won the middle eight.
Yeah. So it was something that really came up, a couple of years ago. I think, when we had some staff changes, and some new ideas that came in, we started talking about the recognition of the middle eight, which is the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. Because if you look at, finishing a half, on an upswing, if you can, if you're getting more points than they are in that point in time, and they're doing the same thing on the second side of that, it puts you in a position to win. Everybody has gotten to a point where the coin toss is important, and you defer it if you win it. Mm-hmm. So you can get the ball in the second half, see how the game goes. But when you're able to win the middle eight and then win the fourth quarter right now, it makes you very, very hard to beat.
The other thing that you've said on a number of occasions is that your best game is still to come. You feel like there's more to be had with this football team.
Oh, 100%. Now, I think the defense is playing, extremely well. I think they've played well, and I think that they have a tremendous challenge this week. But, I think the offense has continued to produce and continue to get better and better. You already recognize the offensive line's improvement and how they're doing things. There were some big shoes to fill there, and they've gone a couple of weeks against some pretty good pass rushers and held it and give Devin an opportunity to go. The delivery of the ball. I mean, we played a decent game last week. I'm not saying a really good game, but we dropped 5-6 passes. Mm-hmm. 3, 4, or 5 of them were on third down. If you're able to do those things, numbers skyrocket. You have better opportunities to continue to move the chains, and then the points come. But, the challenge for our football team is to make that step And because I do believe, as I mentioned earlier in the day, in this broadcast, is that I think that's what's going to be required to win as we go forward.
Speaking of the O-line, Demetri Robinson got banged up in that game. I don't want to spring it on you. Don't say anything.
No,
if we don't, he is on the depth chart for this. Is he good
He's
to
back.
go?
He's back. He's good. They're tough kids. Now, I mean, these kids and our sports medicine people do a great job. He got his ankle messed up a little bit, but he was spatted up and taped up, and he was getting some reps today. So he's going to be fine, and I think everybody's going to make it back to the dance.
And another thing that you hopped on us on Monday was the games you remember are the games in November. And this will be game number one
I
for
can't
November.
take credit for that. I mean, everything is
I think
borrowed
Big Crosby
or stolen.
said it first, right?
I hear you, right. The games you remember are played in November.
Yeah.
I mean, that is true. Because when you start looking at how things form up, we've done what we've done through September and October. All right, we got 7 wins. All right, that don't mean nothing right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got a rack of 4. And that goes back to training camp, which is kind of interesting. Jeff Wozencroft, who runs our front office, we talk on a day-to-day basis. And when we went into training camp, we talked about racks of 4 because that's what we do. We go 4 practices, and then we take 1 day off. And so what's happened with our football season, it's the same thing. You got 4 in September, all right, and then you got 4 in October, and we've gotten through that fairly significantly and fairly well. Now we've got a huge rack ahead of us with very highly qualified people that we've got to be prepared to be able to go and beat. But there's no reason to think you can't win them all. Mm-hmm. At the same time as the opponents you're playing have different ideas as well. So we've got to play well. We got to stay short-term focused, and we got to just come on out and play a very good football game on all 3 phases this weekend. That's the end of the story, and focus right now on a good Thursday practice.
I know we're not supposed to talk about polls and about numbers and about seeding about brackets. I know the deal.
But they start to matter in November.
One of my best friends in the world, Terry Lynch, continues to text me everything from the dark web that he finds that has us anywhere from number 3 and 1. And that one would be behind Dartmouth at number 2. I'm not sure exactly what factor. Coach, I'll show it to you during the break.
Dartmouth?
Yeah.
So, come on, man. I mean, there's not even close between CAA and Ivy League. Give me a break.
Yeah, so I send back, could you explain how he came to these? And he sends me some formula that has to do with what the dew point was in Miami on a certain day or something. I don't know. But the best on the ones that were fairly conventional, we were 11, right, in 1, and 14 in the on the ones everybody looks at. Do you worry about – I know you have that in hand, and not to get too involved in that. Do you worry about what your players are doing, finding that same stuff as Terry's finding?
I feel good about this team, not worrying about that. I think we all play with a chip on our shoulder. I mean, we go up and we beat number 19 in New Hampshire. We move up 1 spot.
Yeah, right. Right.
I think that and I think that everybody's just waiting for us, to go ahead and stumble and fall. So I mean, I'm ready to go ahead and make sure we're going to win every single game, and show people what we're all about. Now, is that talking a bunch of trash? No, I think we've got a good football team that if they prepare the right way and we go out and play and execute, then I think we have the opportunity to do that. At the same time as if we don't, we have an opportunity to go ahead and have a slide. And my whole focus is to make sure that we keep our chip on our shoulder, and we're going to show everybody what we're about.
I think you're right, though.
I do too.
I think if we were a
different
upper
name.
echelon team, say South Dakota State.
Yes.
We're a 7-1 with 1 FBS loss and nothing else. We'd be number 2 in the country.
Right. Well, and that's what it comes down to. I mean, like in September, rankings don't matter. October, rankings don't matter. Truthfully, right now, the beginning in November, they don't really matter. But you've got to be in the conversation.
Yeah, right.
And so if you can continue to go ahead and stack wins, and this is a big one this weekend, then you expect that you're going to be in a position right now where you can make an argument. But we've got a lot of work to do between now and then, and I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Final question, and we got to go because we're going to have Devin Farrell on, and we're going to have Sebastian Delasoudas, and Andrew Meehan, who is our expert executive producer, said we got to be on time this week because we went too far over last week. What are the Flemings giving out for Halloween tomorrow night?
Oh, I mentioned this, I think, today. Leslie spends probably about $5,000 a year on candy.
So do I, but I eat it all.
It's not for the trick-or-treaters. It's for feeding these kids get a candy bag.
Yeah.
I mention that after every game.
Yep.
It's got an RI on it. It's got the same pieces of candy. So she continues to go. She had to run the dog on Walmart because she knew she had to get some candy before it was sold out for Halloween. Now, at Halloween, we do nothing. No. We ended up at the end of a street. It's dark. It's a little spooky, so I'm expecting a couple of people. But, if they come, they'll get some Milky Ways or whatever the heck else they get.
Tickets to the Monmouth game. Here you go.
Yeah, there you go. No, they're sold out. You can't get one.
Not even at Coach's house. That's how sold out we are.
Yeah, right on.
Coach, you're the man. You said earlier that one of the things about your job is that you could be the dumbest guy around and you could ask the smartest guys what they think we should do. Fortunate for us at URI, we've got one of the smartest guys around in you, and you still listen to the smartest guys around you, and that's why this program is in such great hands, and we're doing so well. Very, very proud of you, man.
I appreciate you.
All right. Coach Flem, we'll be back in just a sec. I don't know who's up first, but you guys can decide over there, and we'll be back at the Mews. Welcome back once again to the Mews Tavern. All right, we're having some fun here the night before Halloween. Don't go to Coach's house. You're going to end up with an empty bag. Hey, if you go to Coach's house and the lights are out, they're in there, okay? So just keep knocking on the door and ringing the bell. Coach is hiding behind the couch. He's got a Snickers bar for you probably or something. Devin Farrell is with us, a quarterback for the University of Rhode Island. How about a nice round of applause for Dev? Doing an awesome job leading the University of Rhode Island back in your Halloween days when you were trick-or-treating back in Stockbridge, Georgia, right?
Yep.
What was the best costume you ever had?
I would say Jack Sparrow.
Jack
I
Sparrow?
loved Jack Sparrow growing up.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
And I want to shout out my mom, too. Her birthday is tomorrow. So.
Oh, no way. Yeah. All right, Mom. That is awesome. We won't ask you how many birthdays she's had. I don't think she wants us to get involved in that. That's great. So you give her a call tomorrow. And,
definitely.
Absolutely. How often? You talk to her each day? Text her?
Every week.
Most days.
Yeah, most days. Yeah. But she was up here for the main game. So
oh, great.
Her and my sister, we were able to go out and get some food, and then I gave her a gift, so it was good.
Oh, you got the birthday gift early.
Yeah.
Good shopper. Nice going. That is planning right there. That's what I'd like to see out of our quarterback. Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. So family's important to you, I know, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Just talk about your family and your upbringing and what's got you here. Being, I know, I hear such good things about the quality of person you are, and talk about where that comes from. I'm sure your mom has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, definitely. My mom and my dad and my sister, honestly. Yeah. My mom, she's like I would say the stricter one.
Okay.
So.
Me too. My mom was she was the tough one.
Yeah.
Dad was a piece of cake.
Yeah, my dad was, I would say both of them, honestly, because my dad was, like, real hard on me growing up, with sports and stuff. I played basketball and football almost my whole life. And that was, like, really big growing up for me. And, like Coach Flem said earlier, I'm super hard on myself, and I'm trying to be almost like a perfectionist. Yeah. And that's, because of him. And I don't look at it as a negative, honestly. It's helped me, and it's got me to where I'm at today. And so thank you, Dad, for that.
You got that. Right.
My sister, she's like, the gentle one. You know what I mean? Like I could go to her for anything. And she's helped me a lot with like even the my transfer process.
Yes,
like she was somebody I leaned on, and I love her for a lot of things, but definitely that too. So yeah.
She older?
She's older. She's a year and 6 months older.
Excellent. Yeah. You mentioned hoops. I heard JMU verbal you for basketball. Is that right?
They did. Yeah. I think it was in
early
my freshman year. Yeah.
Yes,
sir.
Any thought at that time? Were you? I'm definitely a football guy, or was there a choice to make?
I thought I was going to play basketball growing up.
Really?
Yeah, but because I was playing football also, it kind of messed with like the summer schedule with AAU basketball and stuff like that. So I wasn't able to, focus on one sport at a time. And, that's just how I was playing.
You did 1 year of AAU, didn't you?
I did. I've been playing football and basketball since I was 3 or 4, and AAU started in 4th grade, I think. Mm-hmm. So AAU basketball.
And I know during that recruiting process out of Milton High School, first of all, Milton, your last 2 years, you guys were, what was it, 23-2, some of that?
I can't remember the rankings, but we were pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Talk about your performance over those couple of years before you went on to college.
So I started off when I transferred in my sophomore year, or the end of my freshman year. I had to beat out a senior, so I was playing corner and I was playing quarterback for about the first 5 games, and then I ended up getting the job the 6th game. So my time at Milton was fun. It was great. I had a lot of guys around me that were really good, really, really good players. We had the number 1 player in the nation in the class of 2023, I think, and he's playing at Alabama right now. So
fantastic.
I was surrounded by a lot of good players.
So you end up choosing Virginia Tech, and but others like Duke, Georgia Tech. There was a long list of people that wanted you, right?
Yeah. So I told you I played corner too.
Yeah.
So like my first SEC offer was as a corner at Vanderbilt. So I would say the majority of those offers were athlete offers. Virginia Tech was one of the few quarterback offers I had. So I believe in myself. I believe in my capabilities, so I stuck with Virginia Tech.
Absolutely, and was so happy you ended up at the University of Rhode Island. Talk about that decision when you knew it was time to find another spot and you chose Rhode Island.
Yeah, I would when I figured out that I was going to enter the transfer portal.
Yeah.
The first person I called was my quarterback coach, Ron Veal, back home. He's my private quarterback coach.
Okay.
And he's really like a mentor. Like, I value our conversations off the field more than I value our on-field work. So he kind of guided me throughout that whole process because I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
It was my first time doing that. So, he just told me to go to a place where they really want me, and Murph was one of the first people who hit me up, and he was super consistent in the recruiting process.
So you get there, you get to here, and at that time it looked like Kasim had finished up, but then he got the extra year, right? So he's back for another year, so you had to kind of most of the time sit and watch him play and learn. What did you learn that year? Maybe what do you take away from watching him play and the development of being around?
Yeah, I would say patience was a big one for me.
Sure.
I want to just jump right into it. I feel like I got everything figured out, but I learned a lot of patience throughout that process, and a lot of areas that I needed to improve on. Like, Kasim kind of showed me that, like, just watching him through meetings, practice, whatever it was.
Yeah, right.
And, it was a great year for me to just sit down and learn and watch.
So all that time you're saying, okay, next year is going to be my job. I'm all set. And then Hunter Helms comes into the picture, coming from Clemson, and that changed things as well. Talk about that healthy competition between the two of you through the especially the month of August.
Yeah, at this point in football, there's no chilling. It's always somebody coming to take your spot. So, everything is earned, not given. So, I mean, the competition was great. Like, I feel like that brings the best out in everybody. That competition. So I was excited to get another person and just compete, and
bring out the best in each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a great experience. Or it was great.
People toss around that dual threat quarterback. Yeah. Moniker for a lot of guys. It seems a lot of guys who maybe don't deserve it get it. You deserve it, right? I mean, you are a guy that can throw the ball, and you are a guy that can put your feet on the ground and go. Yeah. As a quarterback, take us into that snap. You got it. You're looking in the pocket. It's a passing play that's called. And when do you decide, or how do you decide, all right, I'm going to take this one, I'm going to run this one?
I would say it's instinct. It's not pre-planned. It's just like my mom tells me to play my game. So if I decide to run, it's because that's what I feel in the moment. So
I'm just a fat guy in the press box looking for a free meal. But for me, it was the Hampton game, right? You had the starting job, then you were coming off the bench, and then you came back into that Hampton game. And with every possession, the first one I think was 4 plays, touchdown. The next one was 3 plays, touchdown. All right, if I got it right. And with every possession, it seemed to me I could see your confidence grow out there, and you got into a rhythm.
Yeah.
Talk about that game and your presence in it.
Yeah, the week leading up to it, it was it was tough for me because, as you mentioned, I ended up getting the starting job, and then there was a couple whatever happened. And, it was. I think it was a testing of my faith because I'm a big believer in Jesus Christ, and I think that everything happens for a reason. So throughout that game, he had the first drives or two, And then I ended up going out there, and I think the first drive we scored when I was out there, but the second drive I ended up throwing a pick right before halftime.
Okay, I skipped that one.
Yeah. So, and then I ended up injuring my ankle kind of. And when we were in the locker room, it was like, dang, like this is tough. Like, okay, we started off well when I got in, and then I throw a pick, and now it's up in the air. So it was tough, but I think the defense really helped us because we just feed off each other. And AJ, like Coach mentioned earlier, he's a great leader, and he got us a spark at halftime. So it was good. It was
interesting that even a defensive player can be a leader for an offensive player. I like that. You mentioned your faith in your farewell post to the Virginia Tech fans. You mentioned Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. Means something to you. Huh?
Definitely.
Yeah, talk about that.
I have it tattooed on my forearm. Whatever I've been through in my life, I feel like God is always with me, and He'll never lead you to somewhere He won't get you out of or won't bring you through. So
excellent.
That's big for me.
That is good stuff. The main game this past week, I know up in the booth, it was windy, right?
Yeah.
It was windy. What was it like on the field?
It didn't feel too windy.
No? Pregame
it did, but in the game I didn't feel like the wind was a big factor.
Okay, you were 13 of 24, over 200 yards. This guy Tommy Smith seems to be a guy that you find with some more and more regularity, and he got the job for you in that 46-yard pass. Talk about his role. You and he have become pretty good at this.
Yeah, Tommy's he's a great teammate, like friend, everything. He just works. He's always the first guy in, last guy out, literally. Like to put it into basketball terms for you, he's like the sixth man. He would have that six-man award because he just does the dirty work. He comes in to work every day, as I mentioned. I'm just glad that everything is happening for him, because he really deserves it.
And again, just me, I think your best pass of the year was that one to Marquise for, I think it was 42 yards in that game. I just dropped it right in. Talk about that play, how it developed, and what you thought of how it connected.
So Coach called one of our calls that we call a lot throughout the game, and they were in a man cover one look, and we have a conversion to that defense. And Keith took the slot fade, and I was actually supposed to slide the line to the right side because we were on the left middle, left hash, and I ended up getting hit because of that. So I was hot off of the blitzer, but Keith did his job, and I was able to get the ball to him, and he did the rest. So.
Excellent. And one more thing. You mentioned leadership, and all the coach was talking about leadership. We got a guy here. Adam Houston is the old man at the other table over there. I coached him when he was a young man in baseball, me and Coach Amori, and his wife and Adam's stepson, Gavin, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
You help Gavin. You mentor Gavin. He's a quarterback in football, in high school football in Rhode Island, right?
Yep.
Tell us a little about that relationship and what you get out of it and what you give out of it.
Yeah, it's great. I've had mentors throughout my life, and I told you before, the conversations I have with my quarterback coach back home off the field mean more to me than the work that we do on the field. So having somebody like Gavin who just wants to work, who wants to learn, who really cares, it's easy for me to help him. And I just love it because that's what I had, and that's what I would want, at that age. So it's great, and he's a great kid. He just works, he loves it. So
that's awesome. To Adam and Rachel and Gavin, we appreciate them being here and appreciate your influence on Gavin. It speaks volumes about the person that you are. We're happy because you're a talented quarterback that you're here, but we're even happier because you're a quality guy. So thanks very much, Dev. Appreciate it. We'll get him on Saturday, okay? All right. Devin Farrell will be back with Sebastian Delasoudas in just a bit from the Mews. Welcome back once again to the Mews Tavern. Oh, yeah, what a place. This is the place, right? Well, I'm not telling you anything, Sebastian. You've been here enough. Sebastian Delasoudas, Sebby is with us here, and this is you've been on the show, I think, more than Coach this year. You've been in attendance for a couple of them, and we chatted with you a little bit, and we always love having you around. I'll tell you what, recently graduated from the University of Rhode Island. Sebastian Delasoudas, I'll tell you what, you and those other two guys, and what is it, a 5-year minimum, Thor, for the Hall of Fame? We're going to put all three of them in together. 10 years? Oh, man, you got a little bit of a wait. Putting all three of them in together. I'll fill out the application right now. You are going to be a Hall of Famer at the University of Rhode Island. No question about it. No question about it. I want to thank Sebby for being here. Also want to thank Jack Parenti and Linda Parenti. Rhode Island's Wood Grill Pizza Crust, the Pizza Gourmet, is a proud sponsor of URI football. Order online today, woodgrillcrust.com. That's woodgrillcrust.com. And want to thank our friends at Ortho Rhode Island as well, the official orthopedics and sports medicine providers of URI Athletics. Ortho Rhode Island helps athletes and active people of all ages get better expertise, better care, better outcomes. Learn more on how Ortho Rhode Island can help you get better at orthopedicsri.com. Sebastian Delasoudas, you got to be a proud guy, right? You're coming back. You're coaching on that offensive line along with Coach Flanagan, who's the offensive coordinator. I checked that. Oh, just promoted him. The offensive line coach for the University of Rhode Island, and doing a terrific job.
Yep.
And you've been right there with him with your experience. It's just a perfect fit. And that O-line has gotten better and better the last 2 weekends, man. You guys have been right on the mark. Talk about the improvement.
We've been rolling.
Yeah.
You know, when I got here, it was a crazy thing. It fell into place at the right time. But I started to get to know these guys, you know. And, you know, the people that I played with since I got here day one.
Yep.
Nick Correa, Lorenzo Thompson, Evan Lovell, Kyle Murphy.
Right.
List goes on. But these guys, they're a different group. They're really tight-knit. And they play loose.
Really?
They play for each other. They're a really good group, and they're getting better.
You can see that?
Yes. It's evident, and not only to me but everyone else. But they're getting better. They're communicating on a different level, and that's what it takes to be a good O-line.
Trey Alexander, the center for Rhode Island, playing your spot, which you've occupied for a long time there at a high level. Talk about what you see in him.
He's my prodigy, I call him. Yeah. But he's got a bright future. He's smart. He's nasty. He plays with a lot of heart. And at a young age, like I was, right, he's basically the leader of that O-line.
Okay. Yeah.
He's in the middle. He's the anchor. He calls go through him, and he's getting better on a weekly basis too.
And I don't know what I'm talking about, but again, you're looking down. Early in the year, I saw high snaps. I saw, a little bit, not anything serious, right? But lately, I've seen that more controlled. Is that something you've been working with him on? And is it something that you see improvement on?
From experience, no matter what anyone tells you, it's the most vulnerable feeling ever.
Yeah.
When you don't have control of those snaps, just like a pitcher throwing his pitches, right? We worked on it. I gave him a couple of tweaks in here and there, but it's all a culmination of his work and his work ethic every day to get that going for whoever's behind him, especially Duff.
Yeah, absolutely. So 0 sacks in the last game. That's so you gotta.
We can't talk about it. Gotta keep it going.
You and Flem, honest to God, half the questions we ask.
That's where I get it from.
Can't jinx me. You can't jinx me.
No, I mean,
let me ask you this: you were a player for a long time. You got in the Jets minicamp, the rookie minicamp. Well, talk about that for just a second. Yep. You're a Fort Lee, New Jersey guy, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, the pride of Fort Lee, the last exit to Nowheresville.
Yeah, that's true.
But and the Jets have you in their rookie minicamp. That had to be pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, it was a surreal feeling.
Yeah.
When I first got there, I was like, wow, this is different, especially me, FCS guy, right?
Sure.
But I was in a room full of kids from SEC schools, wherever you could think of. But great experience. It was 4 days. I learned more than I could ever imagine, and I used some of those things today with the guys. But it was a great experience.
Yeah, their first-round draft pick that year was an O-lineman.
Yeah, Olu.
Yeah, right.
From Penn State, yeah.
So
he's a big dude.
You got to be with him for a little while.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. He was really cool. Nice kid. You know, it's crazy to think about. I came out. I was 24 years old.
Yeah.
He got drafted first round, and he's like 20, maybe 21. So
yeah,
it's different.
Jets or Giants as a kid?
Crazy. I'm a Steeler fan.
No.
Yeah.
All right, right off the board completely.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds pretty good.
But I support both.
Yeah. Okay. So you get to that camp. No, you're number 53 in camp, right?
I was.
Yeah.
That's what I wore in high school.
Do you have the jersey?
Yeah, I have it at home.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of stuff they gave me, too.
That's pretty cool. That's stuff you prize forever, right?
Yeah.
So now you're a coach. Is this something, when I run into you in 10 years, you're still going to be a coach?
I mean, I feel like it's me. Like, football is me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's something that I love doing. I've always liked being involved in what's going on, especially as a player.
So 10 years from now, college level, high school coach. I mean,
wherever the road takes me.
Where do you think you go from here? Where would you like to go?
I mean, I don't know. This is all I know, Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
So as of right now,
hey,
want to be where I'm at.
If 10 years from now you're right with us here, we're going to be one happy group of people. What do you take from Coach Fleming as far as your coaching philosophy? I mean, everybody is an amalgamation of the coaches that they've had, right? What do you take from that guy who's eating all the chicken wings over there?
He's not to blow him up so much, but he's a special coach, and our relationship is the best I've ever had with a coach, and I've learned so much from him, especially now coaching. But it's never enough, and being perfect is a goal, right? But it's out of reach in the reality. But you work every single day, and you work at the little things, and it's a process. It's a trust in each other. It's a culmination of everything that you set out in camp or in January when you get back from winter break. And I've learned this through him, how important it is to be involved in everything, in that aspect. So,
Seb, proud of all the kids that come through the program over the decades that we've been around here, but especially proud of you. Great leader, great player, great person, and you're going to be a great coach. You stay with it, man, because I tell you what, you got what it takes.
Thank you.
You got what
Appreciate
it takes.
it.
You're the man. Sebastian Delasoudas is with us. We'll be back to wrap it up with Coach in just a sec. Welcome back one more time to the Mews Tavern. Got a great crowd on hand as the Rhody Rams 7-1 and 4-0 in the CAA competition, undefeated at home. Going to put that on the line on Saturday at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock game, right?
Yes.
And sold out against Monmouth, a very well coached and a very good team, and a great challenge for Rhode Island. Rhode Island, though, number 14 in the country, and absolutely having an historic year, and they want to keep it going.
Sold out. Yeah. But you and I have been around a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to get into a stadium, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. So if you want to come down and watch the game, let's go, man. Let's go ahead. Bring them on down there. Let's stack the fences. Let's find a way in. Let's charge the gates, man. Let's go.
The difference is I know what fences to climb. I just can't climb them anymore, Coach.
Neither can I. But I used to be able to cut holes in them and find
go
a
underneath.
way through. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Hey, to come away with a win, I know you respect the coaches and the players at Monmouth. What's it going to take for Rhode Island to come out with a W?
Well, we got to go out and we've got to make sure we control the explosive plays.
Yep.
They're very explosive on offense. If we can control those things, outstanding. Offensively, I think we have to just come on out and do what we do, and we need to do it better. I'm feeling, I was watching practice today. I'm just so impressed with our kids. I think we can run it, we can throw it. And if we can stay in it and then add a third component to the special teams, particularly the return game, which we've been trying like heck to get going.
Right.
And that's always been a part of us.
Yeah.
And we got to get that return game going and give us some positive yards. So it's going to take 3 phases. It's going to take a normal URI effort, which is to be able to start and play a full 60.
It's funny you should say explosive plays because Kevin Callahan, Monmouth coach, I was on with him at the press conference on Monday, and I said, what concerns you about URI? He says, explosive plays.
Yeah, so, we all wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, my God.
Coach, good luck on Saturday.
Thank
we'll
you,
be there to root you on.
Appreciate
all right. Thanks to Coach for being with us. Thanks to Sebi for being with us. Also, thanks to Dev. Dev, go get him on Saturday, man. We'll all be rooting for you. And one final time before we go, we want to send our best to the Fitzgerald family. Dr. Fitzgerald, longtime orthopedic surgeon for the University of Rhode Island, passed a couple of days ago. The services and all will be coming out soon. They may be available now, but we'll be sure to update you on that. But our thanks to Doc for all his years of service to the University of Rhode Island, both professionally and personally. He will always be a valued member of the University of Rhode Island family. Thanks for being with us here at the Mews Tavern. Have a good night, and go Rhody.
Thanks for listening to the Jim Fleming Show. Tonight's show has been brought to you by Rhode Island Medical Imaging, the official medical imaging company of URI Athletics. Dunkin' Donuts, sip the Rhody way. Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. And by Pizza Gourmet, Rhode Island's wood-grilled pizza crust is a proud sponsor of URI football. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the